Coach Anthony Scarcelli. Coach Scarcelli has a winning percentage of 83%, and here's why. In his 31 years of coaching, he has never had a losing season. Things of note are 17 conference championships, 8 undefeated regular seasons, 28 consecutive regular season wins, district and regional championships, a state runner-up finish in 2011, and a state championship in 2007. He has been an East All-Star Game coach, Michigan High School Football Coaches Association Assistant Coach of the Year, 6-time Regional Coach of the Year, and has been State Coach of the Year numerous times. He will begin his 30th year at Marine City this fall. Coach Scarcelli's biggest thrills in coaching. Coaching my son in football and my daughter in track. Winning the state championship in 2007, being runner-up in 2011, and winning the state championship again in 2013. Proving our program has staying power. Coach Scarcelli's comments on why coach. It has allowed me to continue to be part of a team, to work at something with people who have the same goals, to continue to be competitive, to help young men develop great work habits, and to make teaching bearable. Probably the most true words spoke tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Hall of Fame, Coach Anthony Scarcelli.
I was very fortunate to play for 2 Hall of Fame coaches when I was in high school, Mr. Bozen and Ben Zakowski. A huge influence on me. Right then, I kind of thought that's the career path I'd want to take. Then I went on to play at the University of Illinois. I was very fortunate to be recruited by Gary Moeller and then play for Mike White. And once again, I think that reiterated what I wanted to do. I think Coach Harbaugh said it best though. Playing football is a very tough, difficult game. It's not very fun. It's the journey there that it keeps you going. That's the stuff that's enjoyable. After a couple of years as a substitute teacher, I was fortunate to be hired at Marine City by Jerry Workentine. He was the outgoing football coach, and he hired me to replace him in the classroom, and he became the AD. And Jerry is a huge reason why Marine City has had so much success. He hired myself, Bob Siskevich, Ron Glowich. We were in the last 3 head coaches there. We all worked together for years. Darren Letson, Bob Scharnweber, Bill Nesbitt. The list goes on and on. Jerry hired all those guys, and it takes a lot of guts on his part to hire a bunch of alpha males. I mean, he's the AD, and he hired a bunch of guys with some big personalities, and he wanted to make the program better. A lot of athletic directors won't do that, but Jerry did. And you look at where Marine City's come, Jerry really initiated it. Next, Bob Siskevich. He's also in the Hall of Fame, and he was my mentor, and I think I speak for everybody on staff that worked with him. There was no doubt. He educated us, taught us how to work extremely hard. You did not want to be the guy not putting the time in with Bob, because he spent just numerous hours. So you would look at that and say, I'm not going to be the guy, not get all the time in. And he also let us have ownership. We were young guys, myself, Ron. I mean, we had 1-2 years experience, and he gave us ownership, and that just made us better coaches. Our first 10 years together, we always had winning records, 6-3, 7-2. But the first 10 years, we could not beat Marysville. They were our white whale, and we were just obsessed with getting better. And eventually, after losing the first 10 years, and since then we've been 18-3. And back then, you lose 10 years in a row, you play the guy every year. Now you whine and complain, and somebody gets moved up, someone gets moved down, you don't got to play them. But I'd like to thank Walt Braun and his staff for making us better. A lot of people don't look at it like that. I look back, I owe them guys a big favor, because in order to compete, we had to beat those guys, and I always respect them for it. I would like to thank all the past and present coaches at Marine City. Most of them are here tonight. I'm not going to mention all your names there, but it's just amazing. You look at all the guys over there, and they've been there for years. They don't leave. You don't want them to leave. It's such a great thing. And we have such a great time. Nobody leaves. Coaching staffs are always looking for guys and this, that, and the other. We never have any openings. Guys are staying. And it's just a lot of fun. Like I said, we have not had a losing season since '82. And that's a tribute to the guys that put all the time and effort in. And I think when I look back at, people always ask me, what's your most enjoyable story or this, that, and the other. We never bring up a game. Oh, you remember that game we won, that play? It's always some stupid story, something happened in practice, something happened that week. Just telling you a little bit about our staff. I think it was my last year as a head coach in 11, and we're playing at Clawson. And this tells you something about the staff. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's funny as heck. We're playing at Clawson, and I'm on the phones with Matt and Dave Olsman and the other defensive guys, and we're on offense with Darren and Danny Harris at the time, and all of a sudden Matt says, "Hey, Darren's down. Darren, he's passed out. He's fallen down. He's out." And as he's saying this, I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, Darren's down. Oh, by the way, if you need to put DJ in at fullback, go ahead and do it." And so, okay, Darren's down. Ron still calling plays, doesn't know Darren can call any plays anymore. So I go into near the stands and I find Darren's wife and say, "Hey, Darren's, something's wrong up there with him, this, that, and the other." And so I go back to the field and I ask Matt, "Well, how's Darren doing?" He says, "He's not doing, I don't think he's doing too good. He cannot say anything. You can't see. He's blacked out. They got the doctor working on him. But boy, she's hot. You got to see this." I'm like, okay. But it's just, it doesn't make any sense, but it was just funny as heck, and that's how we think. It's the stupid stories like that make this thing memorable. We never bring up games. And as far as thank yous, first I want to thank my parents, and you don't got to stand, but I want to thank you for the genetics to go on and play this great game, number one. And people always think, it's this, that, and the other, but God darn, you got to have good genetics to move on and play. And I thank my parents for that. I also thank them just for the attitude about sports, and back then in the 70s, just go out and have fun. Right now you got so many kids worried about getting a scholarship. Am I going to do this, going to do that? I remember I didn't even know you could get a scholarship. Right home and told my parents, I said, "Hey, my coach said, Eastern's talking that maybe I can get a college scholarship." I think they said, "What's college?" That's just how it was back then. But God darn, they came down to Illinois or wherever I was playing, Ohio State, wherever, and they came to the games. And to this day, when I'm coaching, they come. And I really appreciate that. You put the game in perspective. It's all about having fun. I'd like to thank my sisters, Terry and Lynn. I know Terry's here today. But they come to everything. Terry really, she's at everything, same thing, in college, high school, when I'm coaching. They come to everything, and that's great. My brother Jim, and I think Jim introduced him earlier here. He played at Michigan, but I think the last time we were on the sidelines together on the same team was in 1978 when we were playing for the high school state championship. Fortunate enough to win that. But that was the last time when we were at a game we were on the same sideline. Since then, played against each other. When I was at Illinois, he was at Michigan. In fact, one game we were right across from each other in punt return. And then we coached against each other about 13 or 14 times. He was the head coach at Footdale, and I was at Marine City. And it's always tough coaching against your brother. Fortunately, Marine City won about 80% of those games. But it was still a gut-wrenching feeling after the game. Even after a victory, and that was really hard to live with. For about 30 seconds. And then you go over and you celebrate with your team. And as much as I've enjoyed coaching the team, winning a league and state championship, my best memories as coach is definitely coaching my kids. And it's not because they were successful. It's just I like being around them. They're fun people. They're good kids, and to be that close to them and watch them working, watch their joys and their disappointments, that's special. Finally, I would like to thank my wife, Melissa, who, when we met in 1987, she knew that I taught and I coached football. However, she, like me, probably did not know what she was getting into. During the season, you see the players and coaches and the kids at school a lot more than you see your family. And in fact, you know, Bob was the head coach, and Ron, who was the offensive coordinator, myself, we lived, I don't know, a couple hundred yards from each other. If you would draw a line, it would make a triangle, literally. We're that close. And I got to believe at some point in time, my wife thought of it as the Bermuda Triangle of the idiots, because we were constantly over each other's houses, you know, exchanging ideas, and that's not easy. She's raising 2 kids, and I'm over here with these all the time. But I think I know she appreciated what we did for the kids in the community, and I'll never forget, after we won a semifinal game, that this is one of those moments that probably her and I only kind of know, but I remember, you know, after 20 years, finally going to Ford Field, you know, after the semifinal game, just a hug, and we both had some tears in our eyes because we just know, you know, what a long and laborious job that was to get there. And for that, I will always appreciate it. Marine City is a very, very appreciative town. I mean, it's one of those towns, you know, Friday night, yes, it closes up, and they fill the stadium up on home games, and they travel well on the road. And the excitement starts in early August, and everyone knows it's football season when the players go out and sell their discount cards, and you know, the town's excited. I don't know if they're excited because football's starting, because now they get coffee again for 50 cents at Big Boy. But that is a huge thing over there. I put in myself and Bob in the Hall of Fame. I think what you're doing is just put an exclamation point on our program, because I guarantee you the Hall of Fame committee, you guys have done a great job, and I look over there at all the Marine City guys, and I got to say, you know, you look at all of them, probably with the exception of Joe, pretty much everyone else will probably get in over there. So, I do want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for putting me in, and a lot of those guys, I'm sure, will be coming through your desk in the next few years. Thank you very much.